You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Jim Rohn. Hey Taylorians, welcome to another TGC podcast brought to you by Center for Future Learning. I'm Naveen Raman from Life Skills, and each week we bring a successful Gen Y to help you discover the skills and capabilities needed to achieve big in the professional workplace. We are fortunate to have Mr. Rushdi Razif, co-founder of NikahSatu, a thriving event management company that specializes in weddings. Rushdi started off in actuarial consulting, then moved to Bank Negara to work as an analyst before venturing into private equity and venture capital. He graduated from Temple University, Philadelphia, and we will be talking about skills, capabilities, and strategies to become a high performer. Today's theme is TGC 7, Entrepreneurialism, and Rushdi will also be sharing on how being proactive and resourceful goes a long way to success. So stay tuned and get inspired. I'm excited to have another friend today, Mr. Rushdi Razif, co-founder of NikahSatu, a thriving event management company that specializes in weddings. Rushdi had a colorful career where he started off in actuarial consulting, then moving to Bank Negara as an analyst, before venturing into private equity and venture capital. He's young, he's vibrant, and he's here to throw some value bombs. Welcome to our podcast, my dear brother Rushdi.
Hey Navin, thanks
Oh,
for giving me an excuse to wear a shirt.
how are you doing, Rushdi?
I'm good. Busy. Yeah.
Glad to hear that. You've done so much, and you're only like, what, 32?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
tell us, how can young minds who are listening to this podcast can build a successful career in any field?
In order for you to be successful in any career, these are some of the key things that you need. You need ability to grow network, ability to create opportunities, obsession, sales, skill set, quick forecasting, and a very strong individual brand. So I'll talk a bit on building out network. Networks can actually be built. There's actually a formula towards it. You need to build network from everywhere, from lawyers to doctors to government officers, even to like McDonald's brunch managers, because the more diversified the pool, the more resourceful you are. And in order to build network, you need to give network. So what I mean is that whenever you find a new network, you need to assist and you need to connect that network to a new network. So in terms of actually ability to create opportunities, this is more of hard work. You need to continuously work to create opportunities to organizations, to departments that you're in. Eventually, it will come. For example, creating new products for the company, new revenue streams, new method of actually scaling the company's business, etc. Obsession. So when I talk about obsession, it's beyond passion. So passion is more of like hobby oriented. Obsession is goal oriented, and you can actually build obsession and you can replace these obsessions. So how you build this obsession is by setting time-based goals. Set like 3-year goals, break it down to 1 year, to 6 months, to 30 days, and then eventually to daily. So keep track everything, and I guess these will actually create success along the way. So in every role, you need to be a very strong salesman. So what I mean is the ability to convince. So for example, like Datuk Noor Hisham of KKM, on a daily basis, he needs to strongly sell and convince to the rakyat. If you're in research, you're a professor and so on, you need to be able to present your research to your stakeholders. Quick forecasting is also something that no matter what department or what role, it's something that you need. In marketing, sales, product development, even in research, you need the ability to do quick forecasting, to calculate marketing opportunities, product or ROI, even to actually plan out your research development projections and so on, right? And I think the last point is actually creating a very strong individual brand value. The market and anybody that knows you needs to remember you as someone who is resourceful, highly capable, and whenever those opportunity comes, you're first in mind for those roles.
A lot of great insights and timely insights because just I think about a week or two ago we spoke about networking and personal branding to our students, and I
Oh,
think your
yeah,
your,
yeah.
your messages have come as a really strong reinforcement where you need to put yourself out there, but also add value to your network. And we tell them start early. Start as early as being in first year of university. Then you'll have an edge among other students. And then having the right foresight and obsession. Passion is common, but obsession may be rare. So that was amazing learning point for me. Now, you have been an employee and then you've actually become a boss over time, right? Now, could you tell us what are some criteria of a high performance employee?
So I think in any organization, like the human capital categories are actually just split into three main ones: the executives, the managers, and the developers. So a high performance employee needs to be excellent in all three levels. So your executives are your analysts, your associate that does all the groundwork for the company and the department. So managers are the ones that manages these team of executives, and they need to be really good executives in terms of experience as well in order to achieve those targets and KPIs. Developers are roles where they scale up the company, they create new opportunities, they expand into new markets, and eventually they will pass on these keys to the managers to manage these projects. In all three levels, you need a bit of each. And if you're a high performer, you will need to self-grow yourself into these categories. And it needs to be prepared before the opportunity comes, right? So if you want to be a manager, you want to be like a senior manager, you need to be able to be, serving those roles. You need to be manager materials before the opportunity comes. You need to be self-disciplined. You need to be self-improving, self-motivating, and always ahead of your paycheck, right? So I think I've had like previous colleagues where they've commented in terms of certain things that tasks that's given and so on. They say that those are above my paycheck. I'm not taking those risks. So I think by the um, the brand value of actually taking risk for companies and being ahead of everyone else is very important.
I think that was a really good point over there. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was another speaker called Gary, also said the same thing. He said, you need to put yourself out there and ask, your employers, your bosses, how can I add value? How can I, solve the problem if you really want to grow and grow rapidly? And again, we're hearing it from you. Now, today's theme is TGC 7, entrepreneurialism, because you are someone who has a lot of entrepreneurial quality. In fact, you are a full time entrepreneur now. Could you tell us how this skill has been critical for your success? And maybe you can give an example too.
So I think for actually for myself, I wouldn't consider myself as an entrepreneur. I'm more of a catalyst. So the company that I co-founded actually was already established for a couple of years, and I kind of went into it. But I think I have a very, I guess it's more of having a very strong entrepreneur mindset. So the entrepreneur mindset is someone who waits for no one. He doesn't wait for opportunities. He or she creates the opportunities for themselves, and they're willing to take those risks. I'll give this example. I'll give two examples. So I think in 2017 and 2018, I was trying to break into venture capital, but specifically 500 Startup. So 500 Startup is a Silicon Valley based VC that has like funds across the world. So from there, I kind of befriended the managing partner for the Southeast Asian region, Kylie Ng. I knew he was fundraising at the time. So I prepared like a whole list of potential corporates, government-based like investment funds, and their direct contact numbers, their mobile numbers. I put it into like a PDF for him to look at. And from there on, that's when I started to actually build a stronger relationship with the firm. So then one day, what I did is where I found these two really interesting companies in Bandung and Jakarta. I've never been to Bandung. So I just booked my own flight, hotel, and so on. Um, I sent a WhatsApp and a summary to Kylie, and he liked both of the companies. And he was also in Jakarta, I think the week after that. So I arranged the meeting and everything. He liked the companies. He offered me a part-time role to scout and invest on behalf of the firm. So during that time, they didn't actually have those roles. Those roles was directly managed by the partners themselves. So eventually that actually got me a full-time job in venture capital. So another example would be in 2016 and 17, when I was in private equity. I was giving out different founders, pro bono advisory on how to scale their businesses. I was giving this out for free on my own time. So from one founder to another, I met the founder of the current startup that I'm in, Naimran. So this is also, again, where I talk about brand value. So when you have really strong value, brand value, one network will actually pass, recommend you, talk on behalf of you to the other networks. So from there, I met Naimran. Um, Really interesting business. We brainstorm and switch the business model. I pump in my savings and debt into the company, and we just raised a venture capital round last year during a pandemic. So that entrepreneur mindset is where you're creating your own opportunities. You're willing to take the risks, and then also falls back to very strong individual, strong brand value of being capable and also reliable.
It was great hearing your story. It was like a reflection on all the different TGC 7, sub attributes. So I hope my Taylorians are taking notes of this. Now, just have a very casual question to ask you. Just imagine you have a brother or a son
Okay.
in college,
All
doing a
right.
degree. What is
Okay.
one thing that you will tell him to face the
Uh,
world?
One thing, be prepared, be hungry, and to all the 3.5 to 4 point CGPA students that you see, make sure they are your best friends, because they might be hiring you in the future. So I think, and also build out that network from the start, right?
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're a hustler. We really appreciate your valuable insights for Taylorians. And who knows, we hope to see you again, Rushdi.
All right, thank you a lot, Navin. Thank you.
Your network determines your net worth. Anonymous. Hope you enjoyed this week's TGC podcast. We heard from Mr. Rushdi about various capabilities and skills to become a high-performing employee, including TGC 7, entrepreneurialism, where being proactive and resourceful as a networker can add immense value in your career. Remember, the ability to influence change by being proactive, resourceful, and prudent in assuming risk not only makes you a good entrepreneur, but a performing employee when you develop this competence and mindset. So keep applying TGC 7 and become a high performer, and I'll see you on the flip side.